Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all. So last week, we planned to reteach an introduction to their research projects for their 7th grade research projects. And this week, we went from 40% proficient to 70% proficient, which is wonderful. Nicely done, team. Very well done. So as teachers, what were some teacher actions that you did that, that made that shift?
After our meeting last week, I connected with Letty and we found time for her to join me 3 times last week and co-taught lessons on reading introductory paragraphs using the 4-square method.
Yes, we worked together to teach students about paragraph structure, adding details, transition words, and we provided an opportunity for students who had yet to master the ELP Standard 4, which is constructing oral and written claims. And they were able to work through 2 drafts, and then we provided them feedback.
Yeah, and students who had mastered the ELP Standard 4 were offered an extension by requiring them to add some more details and then have a partner offer feedback on their writing. And this process was also modeled by Letty and myself during our mini writing lessons.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like co-teaching and partnering is really working well, and that's actually really having quite a positive impact on your students. So nicely done, everybody. So for this week, we're going to go ahead and look at ELP Standard 10. Okay. So we're going to take about 3 to 5 minutes on this form. And in this form, we're going to go ahead and read the measures of mastery, so the standards, that ELP Standard 10. And we're going to look at the level 4 indicators of the standard, and then we're going to fill out what students need to know and what students need to show in order to demonstrate mastery. Awesome. Thanks for filling out that chart, everybody. So now what we want to look is in this part of the process, we want to take a few minutes to look at that chart, right, and ask ourselves a few questions. What looks right? Like, we definitely want to keep on there. Is there anything we need to take away? Is there anything we need to add? And we want to look at that collaboratively so that we have many eyes, so we can come to consensus that this is the chart we want to move forward with when we do our exemplars. Okay, so yeah, what do you see? What do you notice?
I noticed that the standard is asking for simple, complex, and compound sentences. And so I was thinking maybe we should add in the show part, what the students should, what they should demonstrate in regards to like a mix of sentences.
I was glad to see that knowing how to edit and revise in the no section. I think that's something that's often overlooked. So I was glad to see that in there.
Yes, and I noticed that that accurate in the standard possibly means using verbs in the active and passive voices, and I see that in the no part.
Great. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move forward with this know and show chart as we think about our exemplars, because that's the next part in the process. And hopefully at some point, we can get to the point of being fluid in writing our exemplars, so we can have those when we come to the meeting. But right now we're practicing writing those exemplars based on the know and show chart. Okay. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and take a look at the prompt. So describe a time when you felt proud of yourself for doing something good for someone else, even though it was difficult to do. So we're going to go ahead and write a response to that as an exemplar response, what we would want to see our students produce to meet that know and show chart. Okay, so let's take a few minutes to write that out. Okay, so hopefully we all got a chance to write an exemplar. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. And we want to be asking ourselves some questions like, what do you notice about the exemplars? Do they demonstrate mastery in the standard? How so? What do we think about that?
I noticed that exemplars 1 and 2 show multiple paragraphs, but the standard does not say it has to have multiple paragraphs. Should we add that to our chart or have the exemplar be just 1 paragraph?
I noticed that they're all different, but they all meet the standard. So that has me thinking about with student responses that we should keep that in mind. really what are we looking at, because they could look different and still meet the standard.
Yeah, what do we think of Mahida's point to, so do we have a student that puts multiple paragraphs, and do we count them at the same level as someone who just puts one paragraph? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that kind of also meets with what Kim's saying, in the sense of like, if a student's satisfying the standard in the first paragraph or in one paragraph compared to a student doing it in 2 or 3, maybe we shouldn't be measuring, you know, how much they're putting in the content. It's how they're meeting the standard, achieving that.
Right.
Yeah, like if they're efficient with their writing, that counts too, right?
Really, really good points, y'all. And that's really the purpose of us looking at these exemplars together, right? Is to calibrate what exactly specifically we're looking for when we get our student responses. Great. So we'll be ready when we do get student responses next week, and we'll take it from there.